What if the MCU had all the rights from the beginning? I could sit here and introduce this hypothetical to y'all like it's some revolutionary question, but I know damn well you've all seen a video like this before. We all know that the MCU had very limited rights to their characters at the inception of the universe, so they didn't have access to properties like Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men. Obviously, if they did have those rights, things would look a lot different. So a lot of people have tried their hand at guessing what the MCU would have looked like in this alternate universe. I could just do the same thing and go Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Hulk, then X-Men, but that's already been done. There would be no point in making this video if I just list the same ideas that everyone else has already showcased. So today, I'm going to go over my version of an MCU with all its rights, keeping it similar to what would have happened while also adding in a bit of creative flair. If you've seen my videos before, you're probably wondering, wouldn't this just be the Beyondverse? Technically, yeah, the Beyondverse is my version of this idea, but I'm not just going to go over an outline of the Beyondverse in this video. That would also be redundant. I'm going over a completely new slate for Phase 1 of this alternate MCU. With all that out of the way, this is my version of the revamped MCU. Before we start, I want to thank ML Godzilla, Booga Booga, and Rohith Dar for being the newest subscribers to the channel. I'm back for good now, things are getting back on track, and overall I'm just really invested in growing this channel and would at the very least like to get to 5k subs within the next few months. So if you want to help me reach that goal, be sure to subscribe for a shout out. If you've seen my recent DCU video, you'll know that I like to set my franchises in universes that are very distinct from our own. For the DCU, I had it taking place in a retro-futuristic vintage 1940s universe. For this, it would be like that, but with the 1960s, and the entire world would feel very comic booky. Imagine Universal's Marvel Superhero Island as a cinematic universe. I would want to bring the magic of the Marvel universe to the big screen. Have it feel like those comic books are actually coming to life. The first film in this revamped MCU would be The Amazing Spider-Man. My main goal for this movie wouldn't be setting up a bunch of future projects and characters, it would just be introducing the vibe of this universe, and bringing us a Spider-Man movie that feels like the Ditko comics come to life. Releasing in 2008, Andrew Garfield would play Peter Parker in this universe. The Amazing Spider-Man would focus on a 17-year-old Peter in his senior year of high school, who's already been Spider-Man for about a year now. With his high school years coming to an end, Peter is worried about what he's going to do with his life. His freelance job at the Daily Bugle only gets him so far, and in a world where hundreds of other heroes exist, he's worried about how much of a difference he actually makes being Spider-Man. The main villain is Electro, an old, down-on-his-luck electrician who goes crazy and thinks he's a god after gaining his powers. We would also get appearances from other villains like Chameleon and the Tinkerer. Some side characters in this movie would be Liz Allen, Flash Thompson, and the Daily Bugle cast, including Betty Brant, who would be Peter's love interest in this. The next movie releasing in 2008 would be The Incredible Hulk. This would probably be pretty similar to the actual movie since, it actually happened, but just for the sake of changing things up, I would have the main villain be the leader. Samuel Stearns would approach General Ross and offer him a deal. He aids him in taking down the Hulk if Stearns is allowed special clearance and ability to operate within the government. Ross agrees, and the leader turns Emil Blonsky into the Abomination in order to take on the Hulk, not seeking to take him down for the sake of humanity's safety, but purely wanting to get him out of the way so he can enact his plan of tearing down the US government from the inside. General Ross learns about the leader's plan and seeks the help of both the Hulk and Bruce Banner to take down Stearns and the Abomination. After that, we would have Fantastic Four, releasing in 2009. Once again, this isn't an origin movie and would focus on the Fantastic Four a few years into their career. Although, since the original Fantastic Four movies and other early 2000s Marvel films might not exist in this universe, we could have it so that in each movie we get a little montage of the title character's origin just so that the audience isn't left in the dust. The main villain of this movie would be Namor the Submariner, whose plans to conquer the surface world are discovered after Reed Richards launches a mission to retrieve a certain element only found in the outskirts of Atlantis. By the end, Namor would seemingly be defeated, until he's approached by Atuma, his old general who was cast out, offering to provide assistance in an army if he's let back into the kingdom. Black Panther would also have a cameo. The next film would be Miss Marvel, focusing on Carol Danvers, not Kamala Khan. This would be the first actual origin movie in the MCU, and showcase Carol learning about the Kree Skrull War through Mar-Vell, Captain Marvel, after gaining her powers. Miss Marvel teams up with Captain Marvel to stop both Ronan the Accuser and the Supreme Intelligence, and at the end of the movie, Mar-Vell is killed, forcing Carol to stop the Kree on her own as she officially takes up the mantle of Captain Marvel. After stopping the war, Carol returns to Earth. Next, we have X-Men First Class, which could basically just be the actual First Class movie if it took place in this alternate MCU, and focused on the First Class lineup from the comics instead. So the lineup would be Cyclops, Jean Grey, Iceman, Angel, and Beast. Everything else would basically be the same. Sebastian Shaw is the main villain, Magneto works alongside Charles until the end, you get it. Wolverine's cameo would be cut, but he would be teased at the very end. After that, we have Daredevil Man Without Fear. This could just be a very comic booky version of Daredevil Season 1. Everything should be fairly the same. It's just streamlined into a movie, and the tone would be slightly changed to fit the universe. Same villain, same cast, same story, same everything. Next is Iron Man. Some people claim that if Marvel had the rights to all their characters, Iron Man wouldn't be in the MCU until much later on, which is such an idiotic claim. Yeah, he wouldn't be first, and he certainly wouldn't be as popular, but he was still a decently popular character. He literally had 4 canceled movies in the works before Marvel Studios was a thing. This Iron Man movie would focus on both Tony Stark's Iron Man and James Rhodes' War Machine, taking on advanced idea mechanics and MODOK. AIM would originally just be seen as a rival to Stark Industries until Tony discovers their true motives in MODOK, their secret weapon. He then teams up with War Machine to take down MODOK and AIM, and at the very end of the movie he's approached by Hank Pym, who says there's a threat approaching that may warrant the old Avengers protocol plans to be dusted off. The next movie is Wolverine. We start off with Logan alone, wandering through the Canadian wilderness with no memory of who he is or where he came from. He doesn't even know his name. He decided on being called Logan after finding an old dog tag with the name in the snow. Throughout the movie, we slowly get flashbacks of Wolverine's past and origin during Weapon X as it's being uncovered, so this would kind of be like a better version of Captain Marvel. The main villain would be Sabretooth, who's hunting down Logan and trying to return him to Department K. Wendigo could also be a looming threat to them both. In the end, Logan is approached by Charles Xavier, who offers him a home at the mansion. The second to last movie in this version of Phase 1 of the MCU would be The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Peter is finally in college at Empire State University thanks to a mystery scholarship from Norman Osborn, CEO of Oscorp. Peter asks his new friend Harry, the son of Norman, why his dad gave him the scholarship, and Harry tells Peter that he's supposed to go to Oscorp to discuss it with him. At Oscorp, Norman reveals that he knows Peter is Spider-Man, and says he wants to help with his heroic endeavors, giving him a new suit and everything. This movie would kind of be like a movie version of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Norman tells Peter about Otto Octavius and how they used to be colleagues. He says that Otto has become a dangerous weapons manufacturer and sends Spider-Man off to stop him. Dr. Octopus will be the main villain of this movie, and by the end he's defeated, and it's revealed that Norman only wanted to help Spider-Man so he could learn more about him and gain access to his blood. The final movie in Phase 1 is The Avengers. After Reed Richards warns Hank Pym about Namor, and Hank discovers that the Atlanteans are once again trying to take over the surface world, this time with a larger army, he gains Tony Stark's help in assembling the Avengers to stop him. The lineup would consist of Iron Man, Ant-Man, the Wasp, Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Black Panther. With help from the Fantastic Four, they would fight and defeat Namor and Attuma. At the end of the movie, Hank Pym would begin working on an Ultron sentry to make sure threats like this are easily detected and prevented. And yeah, that's about it. So those are some ideas for an MCU with all the rights. Pretty basic. I know I said I would add some creative flair, but after looking over it, that's pretty much just what everybody else does. Damn, a lot of my stuff has just been pretty brief and basic lately. I really need to lock in and write some actual stuff. Anyways, if this video performs well, I'll continue to phases 2 and 3, with some more expanded and different ideas. And if it doesn't perform as well, I'll just jump straight into my pitches for Avengers EMH and Spectacular Spider-Man Season 3. Anyways, I think that's the video.